The Mystery of the Missing Mince Pies, a stuffed wombat production.
This is the Shirehampton Stuffed Wombat Society with their performance of...
Can I just say how much we love your stuffed wombat productions here on Bognor? A stuffed wombat production?
Okay. Well, thank you. Where was I? Oh, yes. With their performance of The Great Teeth Thief.
Oh, we've heard that one. Can't you do something else?
What? No. Our story...
Your Bognorian audience would be very disappointed.
No. Our story...
Please?
No. We've rehearsed this one. Oh, God knows you can't tell. So that's final. Our story...
We'll make it worth your while.
OK, go on.
How about we give you...
In the interests of public decency, the previous line has been censored. We hope it doesn't affect your enjoyment of the show.
Done. It's been nice doing business with you. Right, in a change to our schedule, the Shirehampton Stuffed Wombat Society bring you The Mystery of the Missing Mince Pies. It's December. There's a distinct chill in the air. Streetlights illuminate the snow that dusts the pavement. A few tardy snowflakes float lazily in the air as a man in his late 50s walks gingerly towards 37 Peveril Gardens. He opens the gate and walks up to the front door. Only then does he finally remove his hands from his pockets to ring the doorbell. Ah, Mugg, come in, dear boy. You look frozen.
Thank you. It's a bit nippy. Is that a new doorbell?
Well, it's one of those programmable ones. It's got dozens of different options. I thought that one would sound more seasonal.
Indeed.
Go through to the sitting room. The fire is on. Do you fancy a glass of mulled wine?
Yes, please. That would be most welcome.
Have a seat. I'll just fetch a couple of glasses from the kitchen. I'm terribly sorry, but I haven't got any mince pies. The shop didn't have any on the shelves.
That's a shame. I love a good mince pie. Wait, I'm sure I saw a headline about a mince pie shortage in yesterday's paper. It's probably just a supply chain issue, though. You know, lack of HGV drives, etc.
That wouldn't explain why it only affects mince pies.
Good point. I really didn't think much about it, to be honest. Why don't we put the BBC 24-hour rolling news on and see if they mention it?
Just a sec, I'll get the TV remote. Right.
And, in our top story tonight, the mystery surrounding the disappearance of the world's supply of mince pies deepens.
Good grief.
Manufacturers have stepped up production, but so far to no avail. Supermarket bosses claim that supplies are simply not reaching them, despite hauliers' insistences that they are shipping the goods. More on that story later. Now, in other news, astronomers say they still have no explanation for a large number of fast radio bursts coming from a source only 18 light-years from Earth. Current theories include...
Blimey. That'll explain the shortage, then.
There must be a logical explanation.
Maybe the drivers are stealing them and selling them on the black market.
But it's a global problem. They can't all be at it. Anyway, it would be impossible to keep such a large black market quiet.
Fair point.
I think it's time for Major General Timothy Mugg to come to the rescue.
Going into hero mode, are we?
Absolutely, old chap.
And how exactly are you going to come to the rescue?
By ensuring that some last-minute supplies get through. We can't have Santa coming down the chimney to be met by a glass of sherry and a jam tart. Simply wouldn't be right.
Quite so. But how do you envisage doing that?
By driving supplies from the manufacturer to the supermarket myself.
What? You're going to roll up at the factory in your beaten-up old Ford Fiesta, pack it with a couple of hundredweight of mince pies, and then drive them to Tesco?
No, the axles couldn't take anywhere near that sort of load. Besides, that's not going to be nearly enough to supply our town's needs. No, I was thinking of working on an industrial scale. Of course, that's going to need a truckload of mince pies. Literally.
But that would need a lorry.
Yes.
But you'd need to be qualified to drive a lorry.
Indeed.
But you're not qualified to drive a lorry. Are you?
That's where you're wrong, my dear Zung. I learned to drive them in the army. I can even drive a tank at a push.
I hope it doesn't come to that. I don't want you starting World War III over a mince pie shortage. So, how are you going to get hold of a lorry? You haven't had much contact with your old regiment in years, as far as I know.
Just because I learned in the army doesn't mean I'm going to use an army truck.
So what are you going to use, then?
Come on, you know there's a shortage of HGV drivers. It's been all over the news. I'll get a temporary contract. You know, help with the last-minute Christmas rush.
I suppose that means I won't see you until after Christmas, then, if you're out on the road.
Why don't you join me? That's assuming they'll have me. You could be my navigator and vouch for me should anything happen to the precious cargo.
I say that's jolly decent of you. I'd like that very much.
Look, why don't I give you a call when I've secured a job?
Splendid. Today was going to be the day I did my Christmas shopping.
You're leaving it a bit late, aren't you?
I don't have that much to get. And besides, I wasn't really expecting you to call. Well, at least it means I can put off fighting my way through the hordes of Christmas shoppers for another 24 hours. So, you clearly didn't have any problem getting the job.
The man at the driver agency was overjoyed when I rang. Couldn't wait for me to start. He said he was really struggling to fill all those vacancies.
Bit of luck being allocated this job, though.
Not really. I specifically asked if there were any mince pie shipments to transport. Apparently none of the other drivers want to touch this type of job with a barge pole. They're all worried that they'll have a black mark on their record if something goes missing. When I said it was ex-military, the agency chap couldn't believe his luck.
It was a clever idea to take that selfie of us both with the mince pie consignment when we picked them up from the factory. Gives us some proof that they were actually loaded into the lorry.
Indeed, and having my own combination lock on the back door will prevent anyone from nicking them when we stop for a comfort break. My current theory is that thefts are an inside job, probably by someone who knows the routes and the security measures they have in place.
Crumbs, that was a bit of a bump.
Certainly was. The roads really are in a shocking state. Look, it's not far to drop-off point. We can check for any obvious damage to the suspension when we get there.
But we're miles from home. I thought we were delivering to one of the big supermarkets.
No, we're dropping off this bulk consignment at the distribution hub first. It'll then be broken down into smaller loads together with other food items to be shipped to individual supermarkets in our area. That's our afternoon itinerary.
I was wondering how any one supermarket could sell 5 tons of mince pies, 10 tons of Christmas cake, 5 tons of Christmas pudding and 5 tons of Stollen cake.
Ah, here's our turning. That's the warehouse over there. We'll soon be able to break out the tea and Marmite sandwiches to celebrate the successful completion of the first part of Operation Christmas Market.
Look, this isn't a war, you know.
Crikey. Backing into that loading bay was a bit harder than I expected. The lorry is quite a bit longer than my Ford Fiesta.
Still, I wouldn't worry too much. Those scratches down the side are only superficial, and I'm sure people hit those metal bumpers at the back of the dock all the time. Even so, I think you gave the banksman a bit of a fright.
He'll be fine after a strong cup of tea, and I'm sure the agency's insurance company will cover the damage to the trailer.
Morning. You must be the new chap with the mince pie consignment. Mr. Nugg?
It's Major General Timothy Mugg. Retired, actually.
Oh. Well, Mr. Mugg, there appears to be an additional lock on the rear doors. I wonder if you knew anything about it?
Yes, I added my own lock just for extra security. I'll just take it off for you.
Thank you. Now, we should have 10 pallets each of mince pies, Christmas cake, Christmas pudding and Stollen. If you could open up the back doors and I'll get a forklift driver to come over and start unloading.
Here you go. Voila, 5 tons of mince. Where have they bloody gone?
Oh dear, what have you done with them?
Nothing.
Come off it. 5 tons of mince pies don't spontaneously disappear. In fact, 5 tons of mince pies, 10 tons of Christmas cake, and 5 tons of Christmas pudding, to be precise, don't spontaneously disappear. Looks like you couldn't dispose of the stolen cake.
Well, no one likes stolen cake, do they? My friend here can vouch for me. Look, here's a selfie we took with the goods after they were loaded.
And we haven't stopped once since we left the factory.
Yes, and I'd be very much obliged if you could point me in the direction of the facilities. I should never have had that second cup of coffee this morning.
Right, well, when you're back, you can fill in a report vis-à-vis the missing cargo. It's just for insurance purposes, of course. We've had so many thefts now that the police simply don't bother to investigate. When you've done that, you can hook up your next load.
Righto.
Now, your new load will include all of our remaining stock of mince pies, Christmas cake and Christmas pudding. Look after it this time. We'll know where you are, too. The trailer's fitted with a tracking device, so no sneaky detours.
Yes, mush dash. Back in a tick.
We really didn't nick them, you know. Yeah, that's what they all say.
Come on, it's the only way to catch the buggers who are nicking the stuff.
But it'll be dark in the trailer.
You're not afraid of the dark, are you? Anyway, you could be a national hero once you snap the picture of the thieves. The police will have the miscreants caught and charged in no time. People will be desperate to turn them in.
But what if I need a comfort break?
Use your phone. Ring me and I'll stop at the next service station. Right, in you get.
I really don't like this. Crikey, it's jolly dark.
2, 4, 6, 8, it's never too late. Me and my radio trucking on through the night. 3, 5, 7, 9 and a double white line. Oof, crikey, bloody potholes. I hope Zung's okay. I'll put him at the next.
Ah!
Zung, are you okay? I'm sorry I didn't spot that pothole.
Ah!
Calm down. What is it?
Horrible.
What is?
Octopus prawn.
Pardon?
Octopus prawn thing.
Make your mind up. Is it an octopus or a prawn?
Thief. Mince pie's gone.
Hang on, I'm pulling over. It won't be long. So tell me again slowly. What happened?
There was a big bump like the one we felt earlier today. Then, suddenly, there was a hole in the roof of the trailer and a bright light. Then, this horrible, slimy-looking octopus-cum-prawn creature dropped into the trailer. It picked out all the packs of mince pies, Christmas cakes and Christmas puddings and passed them up through the hole. It was lightning fast, too. 8 legs. Arms, you know. Then it was back up through the hole and everything was dark again. I didn't have time to get the phone out and photograph it.
You sure this wasn't just one of your dreams?
It would seem like a reasonable explanation, except for the fact that all the Christmas fare is gone. You don't really think I can consume several times my body weight of all that stuff in a matter of minutes? Do you?
Probably not.
Probably.
But how are we going to explain this alien abduction?
I think we should feign ignorance. I don't want to be locked up in a mental institution or whatever the politically correct term is nowadays.
Quite. You'd miss Christmas.
I don't want to be locked up at any time of the year, thank you very much.
If aliens are behind these thefts, then we're fighting forces beyond our comprehension, I think the world is going to have to settle for a mostly mince pie-free Christmas.
You're forgetting that they seem to have taken a liking to Christmas cake and Christmas puddings too.
OK, mostly mince pie, Christmas cake and Christmas pudding-free Christmas.
Why mostly?
Well, not everybody buys their mince pies and Christmas cakes, you know. Some of us couldn't cook.
Meaning?
I've still got a batch of mince pie mixture I made in the summer. Should be nicely matured by now. Come on, let's finish this delivery and get home. Look, it's Christmas Eve tomorrow. Why don't you drop round for some homemade mince pies and mulled wine?
I say, I couldn't think of a nicer way to spend Christmas Eve.
Good. Right, let's get this load delivered and go home.
I must say your homemade mince pies are excellent. You've got the perfect balance of fruit and spices in your mincemeat, and the pastry so light and crisp.
Thank you. I hope Santa appreciates it too.
What?
Well, I left one out for Santa in the study, together with a glass of his favourite sherry. It's a little tradition of mine.
How do you know which sherry Santa likes?
His tastes are very similar to mine. Actually, they're exactly the same as mine.
Ah.
Yes, it's just an excuse for a mince pie and a sherry first thing on Christmas morning.
What was that noise?
It sounded like it came from the study. Quick, someone might be trying to break in.
Shouldn't we call the police?
No time. Don't worry. I'll have any ne'er-do-well in custody in the blink of an eye. Divisional Army Middleweight Boxing Champion 1985, don't you know? I like to think I can take on most opponents.
That was 30-plus years ago. Don't you think...
Right, in we go. Hold it right.
Crikey, what are those coming down the chimney?
It looks like tentacles.
Ugh!
Ah!
It's the octopus prawn thing.
It's two of them.
I thought you said he was away driving a lorry.
Well, he was yesterday. Quick, engage our cocks. Code Santa.
That's what I... Crumbs, my eyes must be playing tricks on me. I'm seeing double.
Are you seeing two Santa Clauses too? What happened to those octopus prawn things?
No idea, old boy.
Santa Claus?
Yes.
There seem to be two of you.
So?
Which one am I supposed to believe in?
What do you mean?
You know, to get my presents.
Zung, you're 50-something, not 5. There is no Santa Claus.
I beg to differ. There are two of them right in front of me.
Just a couple of blokes dressed up in Santa costumes.
Doesn't explain how they squeeze down the chimney, does it?
No.
Or the tentacles.
Okay. But why would there be two Santa Clauses? Santa Claus I? What is the plural of Santa Claus?
Maybe I can answer that for you.
I'm all ears.
Have you ever stopped to consider how Santa manages to deliver all those presents in so little time?
Come on, we all know that Santa Claus doesn't exist.
Notwithstanding the fact that he's standing right in front of you.
OK, setting that aside, no, I've never considered how he might visit several 100 million households in a single night.
Let me give you a little clue.
Where are you going with this?
Don't worry, leave this to me. Quantum superposition.
What?
Quantum superposition?
Yes.
What is quantum superposition?
It's when something, like an electron, is in multiple possible states simultaneously. Like being in two places at once, for example.
Precisely.
But scientists think that only applies to subatomic particles.
Well, clearly they're a bit thick.
Yes. How could Santa make all his deliveries otherwise? He simply...
Simply?
Yes, he simply goes into a superposition of all possible delivery trajectories.
Mugg, does this make any sense to you?
But that's brilliant. No wonder Santa achieves the impossible. That would mean he effectively makes only one delivery, eats one mince pie, and drinks one glass of sherry.
Precisely.
So, no weight gain, no drunk sleigh driving, and no need for overtime.
And back home in time for Christmas morning and another 364 days off work.
Goodness, is that how it works?
Gullible, aren't they?
This is going to be massive.
What?
Brian Cox is going to be so jealous.
Who?
You know, the physics professor off the telly. Nobel Prize, here I come.
I don't think so.
Come on, Zung. Let's get some selfies with Santa and Santa.
Bill, this is getting a bit out of hand.
Good idea. The papers will pay a fortune for the pictures.
I told you that mopping up all the homemade mince pies was a bad idea.
Go to contingency plan rendition. Tranquilise the witnesses.
Oof, my head.
Where am I? Did we overdose on the mulled wine?
Is that even possible? I don't recognise this place.
Am I imagining it, or did we get abducted by Santa Claus?
I have a feeling there were two of them. Odd hands. Very suckery.
Ah, you're awake.
Blimey, is that... And...
Elvis. And Elvis.
Oh, sorry. Our repertoire is really very limited.
What do you mean?
Well, we've only really got the big hitters digitised. You know, the people who are prominent in your news.
Mugg, have you any idea what they're talking about?
No, haven't a clue, old boy.
Come on, we told you all this last time.
Last time?
Ah, did we write their memories last time then?
Must have done.
So, where are we? Is this Area 51 or something?
Area 51? No, it's nothing like Area 51. They've only just figured out how to make a teapot that doesn't dribble. Complicated stuff like anti-gravity is going to take them a couple more centuries to work out.
I hate to repeat myself, but where are we?
Bognor.
You mean the seaside town on the south coast? Is this some sort of downmarket Airbnb?
Yes, but who are these two goons?
Oh, we love the goons. Blibbato!
He's fallen in the water.
So, apart from being Goons fans, who are you? And while we're on the subject, where are we exactly?
Well, it'll be easiest if you just call me Bill and him Ben. I don't think you have the vocal apparatus to pronounce our real names.
And, like I said, you're in Bognor. Though admittedly it's not the one on the south coast.
So there's another Bognor in America. Or Canada or Australia, is there?
Quite probably, but this one is about 18 light years from Earth.
You're telling us that we've been kidnapped by an alien Santa impersonating Elvis and taken to a planet called Bognor that happens to be 18 light years from Earth?
Precisely. Well, actually, I think we'd quibble with the kidnap bit, but in the interests of time, we'll let that pass.
OK, I have one simple question.
What's that?
Why?
Ah, now that's the tricky part.
Because?
Because? Oh, this is rather embarrassing. You caught us red-handed.
Red-handed doing what?
Nicking the mince pies, of course.
Zung, am I going mad? Or do you have some vague recollection of two Santa Clauses in my study, eyeing up the mince pie I left out?
Now you mention it.
Yes, it was all part of the mopping up exercise. All of it highly illegal, of course.
So, are you saying that you're responsible for the mince pie disappearances?
In a pastry case, yes.
But why? Assuming you are who you say you are, that is, aliens from a planet 18 light years from Earth, why travel all that way just to steal some mince pies? Surely you could just make some here on,
Bognor.
Right, Bognor.
They really don't taste the same. Same as pizza from Tesco doesn't taste like pizza in Naples, or Guinness from the local pub doesn't taste like Guinness in Dublin. Bognorians have a very discriminating palate. They'll pay top schlonk, or top dollar as you say, for the genuine article.
Once they'd tasted Earth mince pies, they couldn't get enough of your fruit-based Christmas fare. The demand for Christmas cake and Christmas pudding surged. Black market prices skyrocketed. We were going to be rich beyond our wildest dreams.
But then you, of all people, caught us unawares.
How on earth?
Bognor?
What? Oh, yes. How on Bognor did Bognorians come to develop a taste for mince pies? I mean, there must be millions of civilizations out there, millions of culinary delights.
Let's just say that a visitor introduced us to the whole concept of tea and cakes. Mince pies were one of his specialities.
He sounds like my sort of chap. Impeccable taste and whatnot.
You wouldn't believe how right you are.
But how did you manage to steal all those mince pies? There are only 2 of you.
You're right, it was planned with military precision. Major Fart oversaw the...
Major Fart?
Yes, Major Fart. Listen, you wouldn't dare utter the words Timothy Mugg in polite company on Bognor, unless you wanted to be clapped in irons and thrown into the nearest cesspit. So kindly keep your earth-based verbal prejudices to yourself. Yes, Major Fart oversaw and organised the army of droids that intercepted the various mince pie consignments around the world.
But that would require a huge number of spaceships to transport them.
Not at all. We simply created mini wormholes linking your lorry shipments to our central warehouse. Then it was only a matter of stepping in and picking out the goods.
But what about the octopus prawn things?
You mean our droids?
You mean they were robots? Why were they octopus prawn-shaped?
Just because you have 2 arms and 2 legs doesn't mean the rest of the life in the cosmos is similarly afflicted. We created them in our own image, same as you do with most of your robots.
Look, everyone, this is all very expositional, but we really must get to the hearing.
Hearing?
Let's just say our crimes didn't go unpunished.
That's a result, then.
If you don't want a good probing, then I suggest you keep your opinions to yourself.
And how are you going to do that from a prison cell, then?
Prison? No, we only got a couple of hours community service. I mean, most of the population, as mince pie consumers, was complicit in this racket, so they couldn't put us all behind bars. It was a pretty easy decision after we pleaded guilty.
So, why are we here, then?
We can't have you as witness to our little misdemeanour, can we?
Bit late for that, isn't it? I mean, we can't unsee your little Santa Claus ruse, or the fact that you stole the majority of Earth's mince pies.
You're forgetting that we can wipe your memories. But then again, you'd have forgotten that, because we wiped your memories.
Oh. Unfortunately, the laws on Bognor prohibit us from doing that without a warrant. And you can only apply for such a warrant here on Bognor, together with the persons or things in question. Hence the hearing.
How terribly awkward for you. I have to let you know that we shall fight our case tooth and nail.
Good luck with that.
We put in the application as soon as we got back.
I say, that's grossly unfair. How are we supposed to defend ourselves when we don't know the first thing about Bognorian law?
You'll just have to rely on the Bognorian justice system allocating you a good lawyer. Come on, the hearing starts in 5 minutes.
You two are in luck.
Why? Who did we get?
The court only allocated Professor Freckles to represent you. She's head of interstellar law at the University of Rapine here on Bognor. She's probably the only person on Bognor who doesn't like mince pies, Christmas cake and Christmas pudding.
Quiet. Here comes Judge Fredber. All rise for His Honour, Lord Fredber of Lednura.
Your Honour, as you all know, you're here to consider our request to wipe the memories of these 2 earthlings.
State your case.
As you know, Ben and I have recently completed our community service for the black market mince pie scandal.
What? Already? We've been here less than a day.
Silence in court.
Unfortunately, these 2 earthlings witnessed one of the thefts and, as such, have been exposed to knowledge of alien life forms which, of course, is in contravention of Bognor Statute 42, which states that no Bognorian shall expose themselves to an inferior life form.
Who are you calling inferior?
I'll have silence.
An inferior life form without direct authorization from the President himself.
Quite so.
We therefore humbly request that we be allowed to wipe their memories before returning them to their planet of origin.
What does their counsel have to say on the matter?
Your Honour, my clients are innocent bystanders in this matter. They were not responsible for this disgusting...
But those mince pies were particularly yummy.
If Your Honour says so. No, my clients had no part in this illegal interplanetary trade in fruit-based Christmas fare. They should be returned to their planet, suitably compensated for their trauma.
Objection.
State the nature of your objection.
If you recall, it was the arrival of Bartholomew Mugg that introduced the tea and cake culture to Bognor.
What? My great-uncle? Are you mad?
My lord, you will no doubt remember your previous ruling in Bartholomew's case, which is why the pair before you are unable to recall their previous appearance in this very courtroom.
Ah, yes.
If it pleases Your Honour, I submit that my clients would only agree to having their memory wiped on condition of suitable and substantial compensation.
Hang on, we haven't discussed this.
Hush, you could do very well out of this. Leave this to me.
My lord, we leave it in your capable hands. What say you?
Chop their legs off.
What?
My lord, we only do that to people who boast about their athletic prowess on social media.
My lord, if I might be so bold to suggest...
Oh, what time's it? Cracky, Zung, wake up. Oof, my head.
Where am I? Ooh, well, why are we on your study floor?
No idea. We must have fallen asleep here.
At least we're both fully clothed, old chap, otherwise it'd be jolly embarrassing.
Crumbs, look at all those empty bottles. Did we really drink that much? I've got one hell of a hangover.
Goodness, me too. Blimey, look over there. Is that a Christmas present?
I don't remember that being there last night.
Looks like it's got a label on it too. What does it say?
I'm having a little trouble focusing. Happy Christmas, Messrs. Mugg and Zung. Love your mince pies. Thanks for the memories. Warm regards, Santas.
Sending presents to yourself?
Not unless I've come over all schizophrenic. Hang on. There's a P.S. You're always welcome on Bognor. Bizarre as well as rather ungrammatical.
Do you know anyone in Bognor?
No. I wonder what it is.
Well, open it then.
Hang on. Oh, that's rather naff.
What is it?
A large snow globe with a couple of 6-inch tall cut glass Santas in.
Jolly sparkly, aren't they?
Yes, but why are there two of them?
Who knows? Go on, give it a shake.
There. Well, that's pretty rubbish. Golden snow. What planet are they on?
What's that faint tune it's playing?
Sounds like the chorus of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, only it now seems to be caught in a loop on the diamonds bit. Not exactly Christmas music, is it?
Cheap bloody tat. What are you going to do with it?
Probably bin it or give it to a charity shop.
Good idea. After all, it is the season of goodwill. I wonder if we've got any decent presents. By the way, what's for breakfast? I'm starving. The Mystery of the Missing Mince Pies was written by Tim Reed and starred Richard Hall as the announcer, Dick Zung, Alien Bill, and the Warehouse Man. Tim Reed was Timothy Mugg, Alien Ben, and the Censor. Sarah Gorton was the newsreader, Hazel Hall was Professor Freckles, and Freddie Gorton was Judge Fredbear. Sound effects were... absolutely delicious. And it was a stuffed wombat production.